Hi, I'm Kris Fleming, the Genius Cultivator. Before we get started in this e-course, 3 simple time management strategies for women entrepreneurs, make sure that you've gone to the resources and downloaded your cheat sheet and action guide. I always want to remind you that I am not an attorney, a certified professional accountant, a certified financial planner, a medical professional, a mental health professional, a guru, or responsible for your results. Thank you so much for engaging in this e-course in the Genius Network. I'm super excited to share this with you, and I hope that you find it very helpful. This is the 3 simple time management strategies for women entrepreneurs. Do you ever find yourself at the end of the day wondering what exactly you accomplished? If the answer is yes, you're not alone. Does this happen to you consistently? Small business owners, solo entrepreneurs, freelancers, and others who are self-employed struggle with this feeling all the time. It can seem like an amazing feat to finish the day knowing that you were productive. For most of us, it feels like we never have enough hours in the day. But the reality is, maybe we do have all the time we need. It's just being taken up by non-essential tasks. Maybe we're being overburdened and those tasks are getting in the way of what's really important. When you're spinning your wheels in this way, even your best efforts don't get you any closer to your goals. It's as if you're running in place on a treadmill. You might have heard me talk about the hamster wheel of frustration. You're just running with all you've got and getting absolutely nowhere. This is not a happy way to run your business or feel fulfilled. If you work for yourself, you especially can't afford to throw away precious minutes in your day. Rather than trying to find more time, perhaps we can better manage the time we already have. In this short course, we'll learn the best practices for each of these steps and how to implement them effectively. Following the 3 Ps of time management every day, we'll experience a huge boost in our productivity. You'll get off that treadmill, that hamster wheel of frustration that goes nowhere, and jump onto a clear path to achieving your goals. The 3 Ps are prioritize, plan, and produce. Our action steps are to start by clarifying our business goals, dividing between short and long-term goals, identifying current time management issues we're already facing. What's getting in our way? What's creating the challenge for us? And how can we get closer to our goals? Let's identify what areas in which we're wasting time maybe. Let's note why we think those are an issue. Let's highlight issues we want to focus on resolving as we go through this course. Learning how to properly prioritize is the #1 way to boost our productivity tenfold. We all know how to make a to-do list, but this just isn't enough. We need to figure out which items are essential and which aren't important at all. Let's start by making a list of everything we have to do today. Don't worry about the priority now, just get everything down. How many items do you have? If you have more than 7 or 8, we probably need to trim the list. Let's take out any tasks that we perform every day, like checking email. We can also take out anything that's going to happen regardless of whether or not it's on our list, like taking a phone call that we're expecting. Let's look at the list and ask ourselves, if I do just one thing today, what should it be? And move that to the top of your list. Now let's look back at the other items and repeat for the second task. If you get the first task done that you've already selected and you can only do one other task today, which one should it be? Move that to the second position in your list and keep going. You'll eventually end up with a list of things that you have to do in order of importance. One way to prioritize without getting bogged down in unnecessary tasks is to consider the direct result each task will have on your business. Which of these will directly or indirectly impact your income and goals? These are your high impact tasks and should be your highest priority. We've covered the simplest method for arranging daily tasks, but sometimes that isn't enough either. Here are some tips to further refine your list. We're going to rank items. We're going to set deadlines for everything. We're going to categorize by work area, and we're going to break up big tasks. Now that sounds like a lot. Well, we're going to break that up for you too. Create a scoring and ranking system. For example, Number 1 is items that need to be done today. Number 2 are items that should be done today. Number 3, those don't necessarily need to be done today. Plug your items into these categories and then prioritize within the category. This is especially helpful if you have many small things to do. Set a deadline for everything you have to do. Even if there really isn't time pressure, make the deadline specific to not only a day, but a time of day. If one task is due in the morning and another is due in the afternoon, then you know that the morning task is more important. Categorize by work areas. Some people categorize by work-related or personal tasks. You can then focus on one list at work and the other after work. You could also break it down into smaller areas of work. So as an example, with my personal to-do list, I start at the top with my work tasks and work my way down. And for my personal, I start at the bottom and work my way up. If they meet in the middle, I definitely have too much to do. We can also categorize by time. If you have different tasks to complete in the morning versus the afternoon, you can create a morning list and an afternoon list. That helps break it up into smaller to-do lists for each part of the day. That helps you stay focused throughout the day and helps you stay on track with the tasks you need to be performing at this time. For anything that takes longer than a day, break it up into daily milestones and put these into your to-do list. Remember that the goal is to have a simple system that works for you. Use whichever methods make prioritizing easiest for you. Ideally, you should have 3 to 5 tasks on your daily to-do list. You have to break the habit of thinking that you need to do everything. Be ruthless in throwing out tasks that aren't essential right now. So what do you do with the items that you put on the back burner? If your back burner tasks can't be thrown out, then let's try one or more of the following tactics. Choose a day and a time when you'll take care of each of these items. Set aside some time during the day when you go over these less important things, such as the end of the workday when you're still at your desk or your computer. Delegate these tasks to someone else who can carry them out for you. Make a secondary list of tasks to get done in case you finish with your main list early and have time left over. So as an example, one of the things that I like to do is if I have a meeting coming up, and maybe I have only about 15 minutes before the meeting gets started, it's not enough for me to undertake a big task, but maybe I could knock out something on one of those back burner lists. Just a quick task that isn't necessarily a priority, but just takes a moment or two. Create your to-do list either in your action guide or your tool of choice, such as a pad of paper, planner, or digital notebook. So we've provided an action guide for you with this course. I hope that you've downloaded it already. Start with a full list. Choose one thing you'll do today. If you could only do one, then choose one more thing that you would do today if you can only choose 2. Keep repeating that with the remaining items on your list based on your priorities. Look at your list and ask yourself which will bring you the greatest income with the least effort. Move those up in your list. Go through your list again and look for items you can remove or delegate. Now let's talk about planning. Consider time boxing your tasks. Think about time as a flexible resource that expands or contracts based on the limits that you set. What if your first task eats up more of your time than you expected? To prevent this from happening, you can plan a box of time for each task. Once you reach the end of that box, you'll decide whether to continue by expanding the time limit or put it off to finishing for the next day. For example, you might decide that the most important thing today is to finish writing copy for your landing page. So you set aside 2 hours to do it in the morning. At the end of that 2 hours, you're not quite done. You've gotten stuck in the details or refining the wording, and it's going to take at least another hour. You might look at the time and your list and decide to make finishing your copy as the first priority tomorrow when your mind can focus with renewed energy. Then proceed with the next item on your list. Each of us has times of day when we're most productive. You may also have a certain time when you're best at problem solving or communicating with others. Try to schedule tasks during these optimal times of day. Maybe your most creative time of day is late morning. So schedule tasks like content creation for the hour or two before lunch. If you're at your most social in the late afternoon, set this time for writing important emails or holding meetings. No matter how well you plan, some things are likely to take longer than you thought. There may be interruptions or problems you hadn't anticipated that you have to deal with right away. To allow for the unexpected, you have to pad your to-do list schedule with extra time blocks. For example, my calendar is automatically set to pad 20 minutes on either side of an appointment that's made. So if you make an appointment with me at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, nobody else can make an appointment from 12:30 to 1 or from 1:30 to 2 if it's a 30-minute appointment. This helps me prepare and move into the right mindset for the meeting with you. It also helps me wrap up any items that I told you I would do. I can go ahead and get them knocked out right away. Even if things don't take longer than expected, padding your schedule still has an advantage. You'll be done with your work more quickly than you anticipated, which means you can finish your day sooner or get started on tomorrow's tasks, or maybe even some of those back burner items. To plan for interruptions, try the following: overestimate, buffer, and plan for catch-up. When setting time limits on the items in your list, overestimate the time it will take to complete them. Don't schedule a morning or afternoon too tightly, or you'll be under constant pressure and you will inevitably start running behind. If you're always running behind schedule, you'll end up back on that treadmill of always trying to catch up. Add a buffer of time in your schedule between blocks of work. For example, if you're dividing up your time into 2-hour blocks, schedule in a 20 to 30-minute buffer with no specific task in between each 2-hour block. This will give you time to stand up and stretch, or to grab a snack, or to take a bathroom break, or to visit with a coworker, or answer a quick email. These are those times where you can make something very effective very quickly. Another idea is to schedule specific catch-up time, such as just before lunch or at the end of the day. And if you don't need it, you can use this time to take a break. Remember also that you can always put off an item until the next day if it's going unexpectedly longer and you need a fresh mind to tackle it. As an example, every week, my Friday afternoon is blocked off. You cannot book a meeting with me on Friday afternoons because that's my wrapping up my work week. So all those little things that I didn't quite get accomplished this week, but they still need to get done, I use Friday afternoon to complete those. Sometimes it's not efficient to work on each task every day. Instead, you might take certain items and batch them by setting aside a longer block of time or even a full day to work on them. I put a picture of cookies here because if you think about how inefficient it might be to make one cookie at a time versus making a batch of cookies, that's the same illustration that we're using here. You're not going to make one cookie at a time. You're going to make a batch of cookies. Are there tasks that you can apply the same principle to completing? For example, you might publish a weekly video or podcast. It takes time to set up equipment, record, edit, and produce the content each time. However, if you only have to set up everything once, you can have a significant amount of time. In this case, you might reserve Fridays for video production. Related tasks such as scripting and editing can be done then or added to other days' to-do list. If you have a large number of client calls to make, it might be better to schedule them on 2 separate mornings rather than trying to space them out day by day. This is also a good strategy for tasks where you need to get in the zone, where you need to prepare your mindset to tackle the task properly. I do regularly schedule a whole morning or a whole afternoon to record multiple videos. Any system for managing the tasks you have to do is fine as long as it works for you. But consider using a project management system to make keeping track of things easier. A project management system includes features such as interactive calendars. You can manage your schedule easily and customize what's included and how it displays. Multiple projects with several projects, whether short or long term. You can see where you are in each at a glance. Variety of methods. These programs have to-do lists, time management, and other methods to help you plan. Built-in tools. They have tools to help you with tasks that might be your weak points, like planning a budget. Shareability. Since they're online, you can share with team members easily and access anywhere you have internet. At the end of each day, look at your list and get ready for tomorrow. If there are tasks you didn't get to today, put them on your list for tomorrow. Ideally, you should plan out your entire week in advance to maximize your time. Then at the end of each day, you'll refine the next day's schedule and take into account any changes needed or unexpected tasks that have come up. About once a week, or whatever pace works for you, review long-term projects and check in to see how you're doing. Look at the system you've implemented and see whether it's working or not. These systems are highly personalized and made perfect through trial and error and constant revision. Take the one item from your to-do list that you decided was most likely to impact your income and list each task you need to do in order to complete it. Use your project management tool or a pencil and paper, whatever works for you. Next, take each task and choose a day and a productive time of day to tackle it. Schedule it on your calendar, batching tasks where it makes sense to do several related things in one day or longer block of time. Just like baking that batch of cookies, you don't bake one cookie at a time. Plan the rest of your week based on the concepts and tips in the module, including any recurring daily tasks as well. For items that you'll do in blocks, set aside that block of time on your calendar. Remember to overestimate how long a task will take, add buffer time between blocks, and include free or catch-up time. Step 3. Produce. Isn't that beautiful fabric that's being produced there on that loom? You have a calendar with your daily tasks as well as time blocks scheduled. Go through and take care of each task using buffer and catch-up time as you need it. One note on buffer time: it should be used as a last resort. Don't waste this time just because you have it marked off on your calendar. There will be occasions when you really need it. If you don't need it, use the time effectively to get more work done or recoup your energy. As you go through each day and take care of your to-do list, various things may trip you up or distract you from your priorities. Here are some best practices to keep you on track. We'll go through each one individually. Watch the clock, the "is this necessary" test, see it through, prevent distractions, don't be a perfectionist, make use of waiting time, look for shortcuts. Watch the clock. Keep an eye on the time so that you don't run over your allotments in your time blocks. The best way to do this is using a timer. An ordinary kitchen timer will do, or the timer on your phone. Set it so that you can focus on your task and the alarm will let you know when it's time to move on. Take the "is this necessary" test. Before starting each task, ask yourself whether it's truly necessary. Is it something that will help you get toward a specific goal? Is it something you can delegate to someone else or automate? Try to eliminate tasks before you start them, especially if it's something you hadn't planned on doing and it has come up unexpectedly. See it through. If you decide to work on a task for 1 hour, stick to that 1 hour. Don't stop in the middle or start doing something else. You considered these priorities thoroughly when you made your schedule, so see it through. If you feel like that task is wasting time or doesn't need the block allotted, make the necessary adjustment for next time. Prevent distractions. Arrange your work environment so that there are no distractions. Turn off phone notifications and stay off social media. Let others know you're busy if you don't want to be distracted. If something comes up or you're interrupted, tell the person you'll handle it later. I do have a separate office and I have a sign that I occasionally place on my door: "Do not interrupt unless there is blood or fire." My family knows that if that sign is up, leave me alone. I am deeply focused on my work. Don't be a perfectionist. Sometimes when you're focusing on getting things done, perfectionism can really hold you back. Try to turn off that voice in the back of your head and remember that you can always go back later to tweak or edit. There's always something that can be improved. So aim for good enough rather than perfect. Remember, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Make use of waiting time. If there's a delay in completing a task, try to use this time productively. For example, you're waiting for an update on an app before you can do your work. While it's updating, see if you can make some headway on another task or part of a task. This isn't multitasking per se, but just a way to be more efficient. Look for shortcuts. Always look for shortcuts you can use, like templates or automations. Many email and CRM systems will equip you for this. Download a timer app or find a kitchen timer that you can use to stay on track. Once you've gone through the first day with your new system, reflect on how it went, asking yourself, what did you get done? What did you not get done that you were supposed to? What distracted you? What helped you work faster? Which tasks needed more time than you blocked? Which tasks needed less time than you blocked? Are you trying to do too many things? Is anything taking longer than it's worth? Are there any tasks that would be better done at different times of day than you did them today? What kind of shortcuts could you use and where can you find them? Can you delegate anything? What changes do you need to make? After your first week with the 3P system, reflect on what you've done and the progress you've made toward your goals. After several days of using the system, you should have a solid understanding of what changes can be made for your productivity. With a systematic approach, you'll get everything you need to do completed with time to spare. No more feeling that time is slipping away and you're stuck at the same level, getting nowhere in your business. Thank you so much for joining me in this e-course. I really hope that you've taken some value from it, and feel free to use your templates and your tools as often as possible to help you perfect your own system. There's lots more content available at the Genius Network, on-demand e-courses, business and mindset resources, and so on. Don't forget to touch base with your community to see what's working great for them. Thanks so much.